This class is an outstanding class, and I'm sure you'll find that out as I read their biographies before they accept their awards. With that, please let me get started. Our first inductee to be introduced this evening is David Smitty Smith, Catholic Central High School class of 1973. David Smitty Smith was an outstanding two-sport star for the Crusaders, earning 2 letters in football and 3 in track. He was a stalwart defensive tackle who was named to the UPI and AP 1972 Ohio All-State team. As a junior, he was an integral part of the 1971 Ohio AA State Champion Crusaders, playing in short yardage and goal line situations. During his senior year, he was a one-man wrecking crew in the middle for the Crusaders. Tom Porav, Central's head coach at the time, said Smitty was unblockable during his senior season. In addition to all-state honors, Smith was named to the Eastern District and OVAC All-Star teams. His greatest honor was being selected to play in the Ohio North-South All-Star game. According to newspaper reports, he was the largest player selected to play in the game. He was also an excellent track and field athlete, holding the Central discus record upon graduation. As a senior, he was undefeated in dual meets in both the discus and shot put at Domingo League. He attended Salem, West Virginia College, where he became a starting defensive tackle his freshman year until a severe knee injury ended his career. Smitty, who passed away on March 16, 1999, was a gentle giant, a man of character and integrity, a great friend to his teammates, and he is missed by all who knew him. Gerald Ravazio, a friend of Smitty's, will accept his award.
Well, this is the closest I'll ever get to the Hall of Fame. You know, when they asked me Mike Mahalik called me and asked me to come and speak for Smitty, I just wanted all to know the kind of person he was. So I'm going to take about 5 minutes and tell you 3 quick stories about him. The first time I met Smitty was in our 8th grade, getting ready to be freshmen, and they had tryouts for football. And what the coaches did is separate the guys who wanted to play football to the guys who thought, oh, this would be fun, I'm going to try football. So what they did is they ran us, and they ran us, and they ran us. And I see Smitty was the big guy. And he's coming in last every time he's running. And he's breathing hard. He sounded like a moose in the heat. He breathed so hard. And then after we did the sprinting, they made us sprint more, but on all fours, on your hands and your feet. And Smitty's crying. And I see this guy, and I go up to him. And I said, they're trying to break us. They're trying to get guys to quit. And you can see guys quitting left and right, walking to the locker room, getting their stuff, and you see them walking down the road. And Smitty's bent over, got his hands on his knees, and I said, they're trying to break us. And he's crying. And he stops crying, and he stands up, and he says, they're not going to break me. And 4 years later, he's all-state defensive tackle. The second story I want to say is his personality. He comes down to New Orleans and visits me. And we're about 26, and we're in the French Quarter, and we're walking, and they got this barker in front of this restaurant and bar. And they got a food challenge. And the guy says, hey, you big guy, you up for a challenge? And Smitty's like, what is it? And he goes, we got a 48-ounce steak, baked potato, vegetable salad, and a half loaf of French bread, and a slice of apple pie. If you eat this in 30 minutes, you get $100. And if you don't eat it, it's going to cost you $60. And Smitty goes, no, that's okay. And so the guy says, yeah, I didn't think so. So me, being the antagonist that I am, I'm like, you gonna let that guy disrespect you like that? You're from Steubenville, Ohio. You gotta represent Smitty. So he goes, I'll tell you what, if I don't do it, you pay the $60 and I'll try it. And I said, okay. So we go into the bar, and there's like 30 people there. And the guy goes, we got a challenger. So all these people are all excited. And they're taking Smitty's order for the food, how he wants it cooked. And they bring this food out. And I look at Smitty, I said, Smitty, you think you can eat this? He goes, yeah, I think I can do it. So I'm like, I got money saying, my friend can eat this steak. You got 30 minutes to do it, right? And so Smitty goes, how many people tried this? They said, hundreds. I said, how many people did it? He goes, 4. So these people are like, I'm in. So the owner got a pencil and paper, and he's writing names down. Bob, $10, Joe, $25. He's taking all these bets. And I'm starting to worry because all these people are betting money on it, and I don't have the money to cover it. And I don't have the $60 to pay for the steak, right? So this food challenge starts, and Smitty gets about 3/4 of the way finished. And he puts his fork and knife down, and he goes, I don't know if I can do it. And I'm like, and all these people are like, yeah, they're hitting on us and stuff. And I look at Smitty, and I give him a look, and he looks at me, and he winks. And when he winked at me, I said, I'm still betting my man can do it, because now I know he can do it, right? So all these people are like, I'm in, I'm doubling up and stuff. So after people quit betting, Smitty picks up his knife and fork and eats this steak in like 27 minutes and a few seconds. And they give him the $100, and he goes, thanks for the snack. He picks the $100 bill up, and he goes, first round of drinks on me. And these people go crazy, right? And they're going, Smitty, Smitty. So he's leading the parade from the restaurant to the bar, and all these people from New Orleans are doing the New Orleans to the second step. And they're going, dan, 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 dan. And so Smitty turns this food eating contest into a party. This happens at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now it's 9 o'clock at night, and Smitty's like, who's hungry? And they're like, me. And he's like, who wants pizza? Me. So he talks to the bartender, and they order 12 large pizzas, and Smitty pays for the pizza. And they're playing old soul music and Mardi Gras music, and everybody's dancing and partying. And next thing I know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're all leaving the place. So that's the kind of personality he had. You know, he goes into a bar, doesn't know anybody, and when we're leaving, they're all chanting his name, you know. And the third quick story I want to tell about is his character. Me and Johnny Harper, another Crusader great, class of '73, on the football team, state champion football team. We're roommates in Baton Rouge, along with Mike Mills and my brother Louis from Steubenville. And it just so happens that Harp and I are at the house, and we're talking about Smitty. He's like, let's mess with Smitty. So we call him up, and we're like, Smitty, we're at the Atlanta airport. We're going to get ready to board, and we're heading to Pittsburgh. Can you pick us up at the airport? Yeah, I'll be there. So we hang up, and we're laughing, you know. And we call back about 3 hours later, and it's like, Smitty, we're sorry, man. Our plane was on the runway, but it had engine problems, and we couldn't get off to call you. So we're changing planes, and we finally got to a payphone. So can you come? He goes, yeah, I'll be there. So he goes back up there, and me and Hart go to bed, right? And we wake up the next morning and call him, and he's like, that was a good one. You guys got me. And then he goes, Gerald, aren't you coming home in 2 weeks? And every time I come home, Smitty would pick me up at the airport. I mean, this has gone on for decades. And if I got in like a Thursday, I told my family I'd get in on Monday. Because Smitty would pick me up, and we would just hang out for days. And so I'm like, yes, I am. Smitty, you gonna pick me up? Yeah, sure, I'll be there. You know, trust me, buddy. And I'm like, he ain't gonna be there, man. So I called him up 2 more days later. Same thing. Yeah, I'll be there, buddy. And I called him up the day I'm leaving. I'm like, Smitty, I get in at this time on this flight and I'm at this gate. Are you going to be there? Yeah, trust me, I'll be there. And he got this devilish laugh, like, you know, and I'm like, he ain't showing. So the plane lands, I'm walking down the corridor, and I come into the terminal. And Smitty positions himself where I'm the first person he sees. And he got his hands out and he goes, welcome home, friend. And man, I hugged that guy like we was on our honeymoon. You know, I was so ecstatic that he was there, but that's his character. He could have, if you were his friend, you was his friend for life. And I just want to say this, in 1999, Smitty walked through that character of death, that corridor of death. And he stepped into eternity. And when he did that, King Jesus was positioning himself that he was the first person that Smitty saw. And he had his hands out. And he said, welcome home, friend. So on behalf of Dave Smith, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Mike Mahalik for bringing this up to vote. I want to thank Raymond Sokos for giving me guidance on how to get Smitty through and get him into the vote. I want to thank my brother Mike Ravazio, who went to the library, who tirelessly and tirelessly researched all the information that these gentlemen read on about Smitty. And I want to thank all the Hall of Famers who voted for him. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and sharing this moment with Smitty. Thank you.
Our next inductee from the class of 1995 at Catholic Central High School is Chinedu Achebe. 1995 graduate, he was a state champion in 3 sports over his 2 years at Catholic Central. As a junior, he helped the Crusaders win both the 1993 OHSAA Division V state title in football, as well as the 1994 Ohio Division III crown in baseball. He led her twice in both sports, as well as wrestling. In his senior year, he captured the 1995 OHSAA Division III State Wrestling Championship at 215 pounds. In 2 years on the wrestling mat, Chin became the most dominant and accomplished grappler in school history. As a junior, he compiled a 24-4 record on the way to capturing the 180-pound title at the OVAC Championships. Only the second conference champion in school history. Achebe went on to earn a semifinal berth at the state tournament, finishing 3rd in his weight class in Division III. As a senior, Chin captured his second OVAC title, this time as a heavyweight. Returning to Columbus in search of redemption, he rolled through the Division III state tournament in the 215-pound weight class by pinning 2 of his first 3 opponents and taking a 15-3 major decision against the other. He became the first state champion in school history, capping off an incredible 30-0 season with another pin at the 5:13 mark of the title match. In 2 state tournament appearances, he compiled a record of 8 wins and 1 loss, and 6 of those wins were by pins. Chin went on to Iowa State University, where he was a 3-year starter and a 4-year letterman as a defensive end in football. As a senior captain, he had 92 tackles, 244 for his career, to merit Team MVP and the Cyclones' Outstanding Defensive Player Award. He also earned the Coach's Appreciation Award as a player who made a great contribution to the team with little public recognition. Chin later went on to play 6 years in the Arena Football League with the Iowa Barnstormers and the New York Dragons. He currently resides with his wife Lauren Goldberg Achebe, 9-year-old daughter Zahora, and 6-year-old son Mecca in Brooklyn, New York, where he has his own athletic training business. Unfortunately, Chin was not able to make it this evening, so accepting his award will be Coach Craig Farrar.
I've been in contact a lot with Chin the last couple of days. He just had car issues, and it was really difficult for him to get back here from Brooklyn. But he wanted me just to express how grateful and how honored he was to be recognized and admitted into the Catholic Central Hall of Fame. Everybody that knows Chin knows that he's probably one of the finest individuals you'll ever meet. There wasn't a thing that he wouldn't do for anyone. As a coach, he was a gem. He's one of those freak athletes. I mean, you heard what Coach Wilinsky read about him. There wasn't anything he could do. If you could get him done, and once he understood what he was supposed to do, and you pointed him in the right direction, he was an absolute terror in everything that he tried, except hitting the curveball in baseball. But he could wrestle. And he was an intimidating factor, and for him to do what he did, winning 2 OVAC championships at different weight classes, and then doing what he did down at the state tournament with that 8-1 record, probably will go unequaled as far. It sounds to me like the rest of the program here is on fine footing and is moving forward. So, hopefully things will go well for Chin in the future. You need to meet his kids if you ever get the opportunity. I've had the pleasure to do that, and they're just as tough as he is. I took a whipping for a whole weekend when we were down at the OVAC in Wheeling when they were recognizing the returning state champs. And so on behalf of Chin, I know that he sends his appreciation and thanks. Thank you.
Our next inductee to the Catholic Central Hall of Fame, class of 2023, is Nicholas J. Tuttle, class of 1999. Tuttle was an outstanding multi-sport athlete, earning 7 varsity letters at Central, 4 in track, 2 in football, and 1 in basketball. On the football team, he was an outstanding tailback and linebacker. During his career, he scored 20 touchdowns and rushed for nearly 2,000 yards. Nick was named second team All-State after rushing for over 1,300 yards his senior year. He was also selected to the OVAC and Eastern District All-Star teams and won the Father Dan Egan Award for being the Crusaders' outstanding player in the Big Red Central game. Tuttle was a bruising runner with breakaway speed that was often displayed during his junior and senior years. As good as he was in football, track may have been his best sport. Nick excelled in the long jump, the high jump, and sprint events. As a junior, Tuttle had the unique distinction of qualifying in 4 events for the regional track meet and moved on as a state qualifier in the long jump. Because of a knee injury suffered during basketball season in his senior year, Tuttle was unable to participate in track and continue his pursuit of a gold medal at the state meet. In basketball, Tuttle was a quality scorer and rebounder until the unfortunate injury ended his sports career. Nick currently resides in the Steubenville area. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome inductee into the Central Hall of Fame 2023, Nick Tuttle.
First off, I want to thank everybody who put this together. Definitely appreciate it. Congratulations to the other inductees. I've seen a lot of familiar faces that I saw from high school. When I got the call that I was going to be on the ballot, to say I was excited is an understatement, considering my father's in the Hall of Fame twice, and my brother is also in the Hall of Fame twice. So, being recognized for me, it's just a little bit more special to share this with them, be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with them in the Hall of Fame. Growing up, I used to watch the old black and white films of the 71 team. And in my house, there's a giant Ohio plaque that my uncle made for my dad with all of his senior stats. And it's like 2.5 feet wide, it's big. So I got to see that every day, and that was my motivation playing football. Is while everybody wants to win every game and deliver a state title, you know, it's not in the cards for everybody, but for me, if I could just reach that level and get those stats that my father had, that was my goal. Playing for Central meant a lot to me. I just told Coach Daly in an interview, you know, I wouldn't trade my high school years for anything. You know, playing for Central, you hear a lot of the courage, character, heart, and spirit. And part of this school is the tradition and the spirit. And from here on out, I get to be a part of that and share this in the Hall of Fame with my dad and brother. So I appreciate this. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee into the Central Hall of Fame is a young lady that I had the privilege of knowing when I was principal here at Catholic Central, Ginny Petties. Ginny is a Catholic Central all-time leading scorer in girls basketball with 1,417 points, and without a doubt, one of the greatest athletes in Catholic Central history. In addition to being a great scorer, Ginny was also a team leader in rebounds, assists, and steals. She broke onto the scene by scoring 262 points as a freshman, making the Eastern District Division III team an All-Ohio honorable mention. She followed it up with 426 points as a sophomore, averaging 20.6 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 4 steals per game. She was named to the Eastern District Division III First Team OVAC Class A, AA, and All-Ohio AP Division III Special Honorable Mention. Ginny probably had her greatest season as a junior, scoring 472 points and becoming the 3rd girl in Central history to score 1,000 points. She scored 30 or more points 4 times and scored in double digits 21 out of 22 games. She led the Crusaders to a 15-7 record, the city championship, and an OVAC regular season championship. She was named to the All-Ohio Division III Third Team, OVAC Class AA First Team and Captain, and to the Eastern District Division III First Team. Ginny missed the first 6 games of her senior season, rehabbing a significant knee injury. But she still managed a great season, averaging 19 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, and 5 steals per game. She was named to the AP All-Ohio Second Team, Eastern District First Team, and Co-Player of the Year in the OVAC Class AA First Team. She was also selected to play in the Sam Mumley OVAC All-Star Classic, and she led the Ohio squad in scoring with 13 points. Petties Mills had a great college career at Glenville State University, where she is the school's 7th leading scorer with 1,520 points. Ginny is currently married to Ronnie Mills III and has 2 children, daughter Lillian, age 6, and Ronnie IV, age 4. Ginny is currently employed at Vistar Credit Union in indirect lending. Ladies and gentlemen, Ginny Pettis Mills.
Wow. So I'm going to do my best to keep this short and sweet because I'm not that great of a public speaker. That's why I went into banking. But when I first got the call from Mike telling me that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I thought I was being scammed. So I was trying to keep as much information about myself to myself. But I didn't tell anybody about it until about 3 or 4 days later when I talked to my college coach, my former college coach, and he was like, yeah, I'm the one who gave them your number to get you. And I was like, oh, this is really happening. So first, I just want to thank the committee for the nomination and the approval, and I want to say congratulations to the rest of the inductees. I want to start off by obviously thanking God and thanking my parents. My mother, Phyllis, who I wish she could have been here. She passed away earlier this year, in February. I don't think she really would have known what was going on here. She wasn't much of a sports fan, but she would have been proud to be here, trust me. And I want to thank my dad. All the time we spent on the road, traveling, playing ball. I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but I was raised in Wellsville, Ohio, which is just right down the road, and played summer ball and made some friends who went here to Catholic Central, and I begged my parents, I want to go play basketball with them. Can I please, when I go to high school, can I please go to Catholic Central? And my parents packed up their house, and we moved to Steubenville, and the rest was history. I want to thank the rest of my family and my friends that have such an amazing support system, especially my husband. I know I didn't know you in high school, but trust me, this place helped mold me into who I am for you. I want to thank my teammates. I had a ton of great coaches here who made the transition into college basketball much easier for me. The connections that I made here and the people I met just paved the way for me into my adult life. I just want to say again, thank you to the committee, thank you to everyone here who supported me, and trust me, I do not take this honor lightly. I'm very proud, and go Blue.
Our next inductee into the Catholic Central Hall of Fame, class of 2023, is Coach Craig Farrar. Served on the coaching staff here at Central from 1980 to 1997. Craig Farrar is one of a kind in Central sports history, being the head coach of the 1994 Division IV State Baseball Champions, defensive coordinator of the 1993 Division V State Football Champions, and the coach of a state wrestling champion, Chinedu Achebe. It's a triple crown of high school coaching and a remarkable achievement. Coach Farrar's career at Central began in 1980 when he was hired as a teacher and assistant football coach under my coaching. Craig quickly became known as one of the best offensive and defensive line coaches in the Ohio Valley. In 1991, he was named defensive coordinator under Coach Greg Bain and held that position until he became the head football coach in 1995. During his time as defensive coordinator, the Crusaders were Division IV state semifinalists in 1991, state champions in 1993, and state qualifiers in 1994. In 1995, Coach Farrar was named head football coach and led the Crusaders to the Division V state playoffs, OVAC and city championships, and was named the Eastern District Coach of the Year. In 1991, Coach Farrar added another sport to his resume, becoming the head wrestling coach. During the next 14 years, Coach Craig coached one state champion, Achebe, one state runner-up, Kevin Williams, and 14 state qualifiers. His 1983 squad was the OVAC dual meet champions. In 1993, CCHS made a bold decision naming Farrar the head baseball coach. Big things were expected over the next few years from a young, talented nucleus, and Coach Farrar delivered in a big way. His 1993 team was a Division III state semifinalist. The 95 and 96 teams were Division IV regional finalists. The 1997 team was a Division IV district finalist. And OVAC championships were won in 93, 94, 95, 96, and 97. As part of a 5-year overall record of 107 wins and only 25 losses. Coach Farrar was named the Eastern District Coach of the Year in 93, 94, and 96. But most important was the 1994 Division IV State Baseball Championship. It was a talented team led by Coach Farrar and a group of hard-working assistant coaches. They succeeded in bringing home the second CCHS State Championship of the 1993-94 school year, and the first and only state baseball championship in school history. Coach Farrar is currently teaching at Cloverleaf High School in Medina County, Ohio. He and his wife, Jen, are the parents of daughters Sophie and sons Sam and Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Craig Farrar, inductee into the Catholic Central Hall of Fame.
Not taking any chances, made sure you wrote everything out here. It always feels extremely gratifying to be recognized as an individual for an accomplishment, but it would be extremely arrogant to believe that those accomplishments were due to anything that resembled individual effort. I'm here this evening due to the collective efforts of a lot of great people. I'm going to just briefly mention them all, I hope. Number one, obviously, are the players, especially the players from the 1993-94 season and specifically the 1994 baseball team. I will always keep each and every one of you close in my memories and my heart, and I got a lot more to say about you guys later. The families, fans, and Catholic Central community, Your support and encouragement of these players helped elevate their play to an unbelievable level. We were never outfanned by anyone. All the coaches from every program in the building at the time helping to establish the expectations, atmosphere, and climate that allowed for us to compete at the state level. Every past head coach that I was fortunate to work with, there is not one I didn't learn something from. I want to specifically recognize Richard Wilinsky, Greg Bain, Ken Manning, Clyde D'Angelo, and John Neese, that their influence on me allowed me to become the teacher, and I can never overstate their importance to me. Most important, the guys who were my assistant coaches. Without Teague Morton, Mike Bukowski, Gary Bracone, and Mike Florak, there's no state championship. Each and every one played a crucial role in a specific area that allowed our players to maximize their efforts and reach our collective goal of a state championship. Teague Morton, energy, passion, love of the game. He brought that every single day and challenged the players to become better every single day. No one could outrace Teague to the plate on an opportunity to score. There was no question when and what direction he wanted you to slide. The hundreds of extra ground balls he would hit to any infielder who wanted to take them, he was always available. No one got down and dirtier than Teague. No one outworked him. Mike Bukowski, he understood analytics before analytics was a thing. There wasn't a pitching coach in the area that could challenge his ability to call a game. It was second to none. This allowed our pitchers to focus on their mechanics and hit spots and throw strikes. Most underestimated was Mike's scouting ability. When it got down to tournament time, Mike was on the road looking at likely opponents. He could dissect their strengths and who was their best so we could minimize their impact, giving us every opportunity to win. That was so invaluable. Gary Bracone, not a better hitting instruction around at the time. Gary started in the winter out of the Claus's garage, and he worked with anyone willing to show up and put in the time. One thing our teams can do, if you look at the stats, we can hit. Top to bottom. A direct reflection of Gary's ability to connect with the kids and teach them how to do that operation. And then Mike Florak. After a stellar career at OU, Mike came home, joined our staff at a crucial period. He was a great first baseman and another hitting instructor. Mike filled in wherever and whenever we needed what needed a lot of attention, and he filled in a lot of different areas. This gave us another experienced voice that allowed our players to benefit from. How many programs could say they had a future D1 coach available to them? There are many individuals that played an important role allowing for our success that I should probably mention. They know who they are and how much I valued and appreciated their contributions. I am humbled and I much appreciate this honor. And I am so thankful that I could share this evening with you. I would like to congratulate all the fellow inductees, and I would like to thank the selection committee for allowing me to join such an elite group. And I would especially like to thank my family, my wife Jen, my oldest son Sam, my middle son Ben and his wife Audrey, my good friend Marty who came along, and my daughter Sophia. Thank you. And I love this place. Always will. Thank you.
The next induction involves the 1993 Division V State Championship football team. The 1993 Division V Ohio High School Athletic Association State Champion football team was led by head coach Greg Bain, the winningest football coach in Central history, and an outstanding group of assistant coaches. The team became the second in school history and the first since the playoff system was implemented to win a state title. Central also became the second school in the Ohio Valley to capture an OHSAA playoff championship. Coming off of a 7-3 record and an OVAC title in 1992, the Crusaders began the season with high expectations, but found themselves at 3-2 midway through the season. A thrilling last-second win over undefeated and state-ranked Blair started the Crusaders on a 5-game winning streak to finish the regular season and secure another OVAC crown and the third playoff berth in school history. After downing East Knox 20-15 in the first round, the Crusaders advanced to the state semifinals with a 21-14 win over Lorraine Clearview, a 19-15 win over perennial powerhouse Newark Catholic before a sellout crowd propelled Central into a matchup with Liberty Center for the state crown. In the state title game at Massillon, Central went ahead 14-7 midway through the fourth quarter before Liberty Center scored in the waning seconds to send the game into overtime. The Crusaders regained the lead on a field goal on the first possession in overtime before the defense secured the OHSAA Division V crown by forcing and recovering a fumble on the Tigers' first play from scrimmage. After outscoring their opponents 266-99 and pitching 4 shutouts in the regular season, the Crusaders combined a ball-hawking defense and a balanced ball control offense to beat 4 playoff opponents who entered those contests with a combined record of 41-5. While the roster was dotted with 7 Crusader Hall of Famers, balance and depth were the hallmarks of the state champions. With the defense forcing 40 turnovers over the course of the season, the offense featured 4 ball carriers with at least 200 yards and 5 touchdowns rushing. Similarly, 4 different Crusaders had at least 10 catches and 100 yards receiving for an offense that amassed nearly 3,800 total yards. Winning the state championship was a total team effort, made possible by great players, excellent coaching, and the support of the Steubenville community. Accepting the award on behalf of the state championship football team from 1993 is head coach Greg Bain.
There's a lot of people. I mentioned earlier, I humbly stand here on behalf of the 1993 Steubenville Catholic Central Crusaders. I want to say thanks. I want to say congratulations to the Hall of Fame inductees, the 1994 baseball state champions, all the Hall of Famers that are in the crowd. And this might take a little bit longer than Coach Mahalik gave me, but a lot of this is thanks. Before I get started, I'd be remiss if we didn't just take a moment of silence to recognize and remember Coach Orlando, Coach Colby, Dr. J.J. Macedonia, Dr. Frank Petrola, Mr. Mack, Tony Shreve, and our custodian, Ernie Baraducci. I appreciate that, and I'm sure they do too. Okay. Again, a lot of this is mostly thank yous, okay, and well-deserved thank yous. I'd like to thank our coaches, okay, Frank Spence, Coach Farrar, Coach O, Coach Sweeney, Coach Lemon, Coach Daly, Coach Mike Lally, Dave Colby, and Bobby Petrella, and I know a few of them are out there. I know I saw Bobby. Would you guys mind standing, please? Coach Swings, Coach Daly, please, Coach Farrar, Coach Bobby. Also like to mention, and Coach Jerry Fado, and him and his coaches did a super job of our junior Crusaders during these years. I would also like to recognize and mention our athletic director, John Serafini, Mr. Ken Voss, our principal, who in my opinion, we had our differences, but he was one of, if not the best principal this school had, ever had. Tony Shreve, and his son-in-law, who took care of the phones. God bless him for that, because I don't know anything about setting up and, the phones to talk and communicate and top-notch. Tommy Clark, our film guy, our doctors, I've just mentioned Dr. J.J. Macedonia, Dr. Anthony Skirty, Dr. Frank Petrola, John Enriero, okay, who was our sports editor at the time. And I know John come under a lot of heat a lot of times, but he was top-notch. He really was. And you look at some of his articles, and there were times where, after losses or whatever, he could have ran me under the bus, but he never did. He always took the high road. And his coverage of our football team, okay, was top-notch all the years that he was here, okay? And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. Some couple behind the guys scenes, Tom Antone, okay, John Cavanaugh, the work that they did behind the scenes. All right, our trainers, Mika Macedonia, Chinedu Morocco, Jamie Bevilacqua, okay, the owners of the Spot Bar, okay, and again, the wives and the families of the coaches' wives and the coaches' families. Nobody understands the sacrifices that they make, okay, allowing us to coach. And again, the kids have heard this many times, all right? I want to thank the parents. I always did. The parents who sacrificed to send their kids to Catholic Central, okay? It's just amazing, and that was never, ever taken for granted, okay? And most importantly, okay, the 1993 Division 5 state champs. I don't know who all was here. I know Michael's here. I see Danny out there. We have Benji's here. Should I call them up, Coach? Or just the players that are here? Would you please come on up, please? I'm asking you. Come on. Coach Sweeney, Coach Randy, I don't know. I'm glad you guys came. I am. I am. I wish there were more here, okay? Oh, geez. Benji, you look dapper, man. Hey, what's up, Jimmer? Hey, my man. It's good to see you. I've been seeing you for a long time. I didn't know you were here. Please, stand with us, okay? And I don't want to bore anybody, okay, but I was talking to Teak and JoJo Allett and Karen Allett when I got here. I was late for dinner, which that doesn't happen very often, but just some highlights of the season that I remember. Okay, there's many more, okay, but it's about these kids, their parents, the families, and the coaches, and these guys are going to be mentioned again, the same pair. Okay, our season started off, I'll remember the highlights, things that you don't forget. We're having our camp. We're having our football camp. And it was, I think it was like about the first week. Well, the Legion had gotten beaten that afternoon in Athens. Okay, we're in the middle of running our 300s. I'll never forget this. I look, and I'm sorry. There's Michael Kuzikowski and Benji, who was on the Legion team. Okay, they were on the Legion team, sprinting from the locker room to get down to camp, to our conditioning. And those stretch know nothing. Stretching's overrated, I guess, okay? They just jumped in and started with the 300s like nobody's business. And I said, man, we got a special group here, okay? Then doing two-a-days. I seen him earlier. I'm glad he's here. I don't know, but we're practicing. I see a guy down at the far end of the field, small guy. And I said, well, I know like Duck and Wally Gogol, and there were some regulars that used to come watch us practice. Well, I didn't recognize this guy. So I go down, lo and behold, it's Rick Leslie, who was in the Hall of Fame. Greggy, you mind if I watch practice? I said, no, absolutely not. But I said, you got to do me one favor. You have to talk to the kids. Which he did. And the kids were, he gave great talk. Okay? Nothing about him. But the kids were astonished when I told them that Ricky was a guard on the 71 state championship team. And Ricky wasn't too much bigger than what he was when he played in high school. Amazing, okay? I'll never forget that. The Campbell Memorial game, we got beat by a very talented, very good, one of the best teams that I've ever coached against. But our kids grew up that game. They really did. We had boys turn into young men. Okay? And we took off from there. And as Coach Wilinsky mentioned, all right, we're 3-2. We lose to Steubenville. Heartbreaker. And through the tears, we told the kids, listen, we got Belair coming up. And they were good. They were good. It says, we don't beat Belair, we might not win again. But if we do beat Belair, we might not lose again. And we did. I remember Shannon Kaczynski turning the East Knox game around. Shannon, about as tall as this podium up here. They had a big running back by the name of Casey Beckett. He was a man among boys. Okay? He was a high school athlete like Trine Simmons, a man among boys. Well, we told our kids all week we were practicing chalk tackling him. Couldn't get a good form tackle on him. Okay? He was too big. But first play of the second half, they had the ball. Try to run a sweep. Shannon chalk tackled him. All right, the other DBs and outside linebackers picked up on it, and we came back. We came back and won. And it doesn't take much to compliment a bane for our kids. But I'll never forget this. At the Junior Crusader football banquet, Mike Mahalik gave our team a great compliment. And Mike, if you deny this, I'm going to call you out on this. You stood up there and you said, I thought we were done. You thought we were done at halftime. Do you remember saying that? I won't forget it. And that was a compliment. It really was. You go back and you're practicing on Thanksgiving. That was always the goal of our kids. We had a great practice that day. Okay. I didn't even drink any spiked coffee at Mr. Ravazio's house that day because we had practice on the afternoon. I took him home from Mass. Come on, Ray, have a shot. Come on, I can't, Mr. Ravazio. We got practice. He said to me like my father-in-law did, just eat a couple mints on the way up. I said, I can't do that, Mr. Ravazio. I can't do that. But we had a glorious day, and that was going into the Newark Catholic game. Okay, we beat Newark Catholic, and again, I wish more of our kids were here, but God bless them, just recognize the ones that are here. But game day highlights to me, I got a call, not a call, but my best friend Bernie and his buddy Joe Dunphy stopped at the house 6 o'clock in the morning on their way to work, wishing us good luck. I get a call, coming out here before first period, I get a call in the locker room from my very close friend, Ken Manning. Greggy, you guys are going to win tonight, don't worry about it. No, hey, Ken, I wish I was as confident as you were, okay? Remember that. Then again, you can't mention the game without, again, the bonehead call, okay? The fake punt. Take full responsibility for that. And my dad always told me that God takes care of his dumb Irishmen. But the 93 Crusaders helped God take care of this dumb Irishman at that time. And again, Kuzi and Benji are tied in, in this story as well, because the day before the game, we had the worst practice of the year. I was telling JoJo and T. Kelly, the kids were worried about these turf shoes, sliding in the mud and what have you, and the doggone it. It was a bad practice. It was the worst practice of the year. But we always ended up with B-18 field goals, and Benji's our kicker. I know he didn't want to kick, okay, and he was usually money in the bank, but he was helter-skelter that day. And then I said, come on, Coons. He was our backup kicker. I said, come on. I said, you got to kick. No way would he want to kick. All right. He said, his thinking was practice is going bad enough. So, I don't want to kick, but he did. Okay. And we all know what happened. In the state championship game, because of a bonehead call, all right, we go into overtime. Benji gets hurt. He's our kicker. The 4th down, we try to buy him in with a timeout. We couldn't do it. So now we're just thinking, what play are we going to run? Never forget it. And Kuzi's there. What about me? Well, he come in, he kicked it like nobody's business. Okay, and lo and behold, we come home with the state championship. It was a great year. It was a fun year. And what's ironic is the post-game interview, I was interviewed by Coach Wilinsky. And it's kind of ironic, but two, of the biggest coaching influences, or 2 of the most important influences on me as a coach, Kenny Manning and Coach Wilinsky. I started the day talking with Kenny, and ended the day talking to Coach Wilinsky. I mean, that's kind of cool. I really believe that. And finally, again on a sadder note, the next day we had the Christmas parade. And, riding on the fire trucks and everything, and I'll never forget this. Mr. Joe Press, because a lot of our kids dedicated that game to Joey. Sorry again. But again, he was congratulating our kids. I don't know what time that thing started. It still started in the morning before they screwed up, started at noontime now. But yeah, T, you know what I'm talking about. But anyhow, congratulations to these kids. I appreciate you people coming here. I know the kids do, all right? And the last thing, I know I've taken up too much time, but the last thing I'd like to mention is, a few years ago, they had a reunion celebration, and it was down at the PAC, and then the next day there was a luncheon out at the Florian Hall, and it was for Coach Parr. Coach Parr being one of the best coaches that ever coached at this school. And I was asked to say a few words, and I'm telling you, there were former players that coached Parr, former coaches. I was like standing in front of royalty. And I told them guys, told Coach Parr, I'm telling you, when we played, when these kids played, all we asked them to do was uphold the tradition that has been laid down for you, so that when any alumni comes to see you play, you make them proud. And I think these kids did that. They did it. And we also told them to make their own mark, and without a doubt, they made their own mark. And I'll be real about it. Did I mention Mr. Mack? Okay, all right, so my conscience is clear now. And also, Coach Neese, who was our guidance counselor, who was like a confidant to me. But again, I'm sorry, I hope that I held this up. I thank Jimmer, Benji, Evan, and Danny for being here. Thank you for coming, and may God bless you.
Gotta say wins. I only have 4 smiles.
Sorry. Thank you. Oh, yes.
Thank you, Greg. Just as a reminder to the inductees and all the recipients, players and coaches that were involved with the championship teams, if you would stay for a few minutes after the program so that there can be some official pictures taken by the photographer from Newbros. Thank you. Final inductee into the Catholic Central Hall of Fame for the class of 2023 is the 1994 state champion baseball team. The 1994 Crusaders captured the Ohio Division IV baseball championship, making Catholic Central just the 5th school in OHSAA history to win a state championship in both football and baseball during the same school year. After going 24-3 and earning a berth in the Division III state semifinals the previous years, the Crusaders began the 1994 season with a state title in their sights. Second-year head coach Craig Farrar, with experienced assistants and a veteran team, made it clear from day one that nothing less than a state title was acceptable. The tough regular season schedule was developed to prepare the team for the rigors of tournament play in a run at a state championship. Crusaders rolled to an OVAC Class AA title and breezed through both sectional and district play to earn a berth in the regional tournament in Zanesville. There, Central shut out Morrill Ridgedale 8-0 in the opening game before eliminating Columbiana 15-6 for the regional crown. Making the school's fourth ever trip to the state tournament, the Crusaders joined the 1965 team as finalists by knocking off Fort Jennings 4-2 in the semifinal in Columbus. The Crusaders would face a Crestline team in the finals that was on a 14-game winning streak, in which they allowed only 10 runs. Undaunted, Central rallied from an early 2-0 deficit for a convincing 7-2 triumph in the title game at Ohio State University's Trotman Field, earning CCHS their first ever state crown on the diamond and their second Ohio High School Athletic Association title of the school year. Led by a coaching staff that included 3 CCHS Hall of Famers and a roster anchored by 6 other inductees, the Crusaders were primed for their historic run through tournament play. The 16-6 regular season against a rugged slate saw Central outscore their opponents by an average score of 9-5. In their 7 postseason wins, the Crusaders outscored their opponents 66-17 for an impressive average score of 9-2. With a solid lineup from top to bottom, the Crusaders batted .346 as a team, with 6 players garnering 17 or more RBIs and 6 connecting for at least 26 hits. 7 Crusaders batted over .333, including 3 with batting averages over 400. Not only did Central's unforgettable season make school and state history, the Crusaders became only the 3rd Ohio Valley team since 1930 and the 1st since 1942 to capture an Ohio State baseball championship. So at this time we would like to have Coach Farrar and any members of his coaching staff and team please come to the stage to accept the award presented by Mr. Lanigan.
Just listening to Coach Wilinsky and those statistics, you can see why we're all proud of that team and how you realize, I mean, it's all about these guys. Okay, they were a team on a mission, and they made the mission come through. There's more than a few people out there that believe this team was ordained for greatness and to be exceptional. That might be true, but every community that we play has a group of kids that they cannot wait to reach high school and win the state championship. You guys faced a lot of those teams on your way to your championship, and you sent most of them back home disappointed. But give the opposition's due respect. They were good, you guys were better. You win championships because of the Jimmys and the Joes. You need a few exceptional talented players. We had our share. But we also had the players that rose up, took the challenge, and never flinched. That was most of them. Together you made memories that will stay with you for a lifetime. To say our pitchers were good would be the understatement of the year. Bobby Suspando set the table, and Casey Kurlanjakis cleaned it off. What a luxury it was to know that most of the time, these two would dominate the other teams, allowing our hitters to relax, put the ball in play, and score a couple runs. Good pitchers aren't much if you don't have a good catcher. Jason Munyani was the wall that allowed our pitchers to throw that pitch in the dirt that was so important. I don't think he had 5 passed balls or pitches he couldn't handle all year. How many teams have school Hall of Famers up the middle like we did with Mike Coos, Benji Claus, and JoJo Allett? Mike Coos played the championship game on one leg with his guts and determination. Benji was our trigger. He triggered everything that we did on the infield. He ran the show on the infield. He triggered our pickoff plays. There wasn't a ball that was hit to the right side that he wasn't determined to get to. Benji was a spark plug that jump-started everything we did. There wasn't a ball hit to the outfield that JoJo wasn't going to put in his back pocket. You add in Jason Bias and Josh McCone in the outfield, both of whom would sell their body to get to the ball. Not a better high school outfield ever. I can remember Josh making that huge diving catch in the championship game. 2 of them, because teeth don't forget anything. Okay? But they were huge snags, and we go down 2-0 against a very good team, and I mean, they thought the game was over. But he makes those huge catches, spurs us, and gets us going. As far as throwing runs, you guys can put it in play, put pressure on the other team. How many times did JoJo lead off with a punt signal? Challenging, pretty much saying, I'm bunting the ball, throw me out. Okay? He'd put the ball down, get on first, steal second. Benji would move him over to third, and by the end of the first inning, Michael or Coos had scored him, and we were up 1-0 before the game even got old. Most teams thought if you got to our number 6, 7, 8, 9 hitter, they could relax. Not against you guys. Okay, we scored as many runs from the bottom of the order as the top. Our number 9 hitter would be most teams' number 1. Defensively, make the routine play wasn't just your motto, it was your mission. You got so good at making the routine play that the exceptional play became the norm and spoiled us all. All this was made possible by your work ethic. Love the game, a desire to be number 1. You would practice until dark, until we kicked you out and sent you home. Finally, the leadership. Everybody has stepped up at one time or the other to lead. No one was afraid to voice their opinion. People may have not liked each other all the time, but you respected each other and you played as a team. Mike Cusick, Paul Marook, BJ Nerzik, Mike Tomachek, Chinedu, Aaron Miller, all people that would have been starters on other teams, put in their times, challenged our starters, and made them raise the level of their game and elevate it to where it was. The glue that held it all together was Mike Orlando. He was undeniably the glue that kept you guys together. I've been around a lot of athletes. Far and away, he's the best leader I've had on any team. We were down 4, 5, 6 to nothing early in the regional final game against Columbiana. Looked like the wheels were wobbling and they were gonna fall off the bus. We went and we were gonna bring them together and we were gonna do a little bit of chewing. And Mike looked me in the eye and said, I got it, Coach. I turned around, I looked at Teague, and I go, Mike's got it. I walk away, coaches walk away with me. To this day, I don't know what Mike said, but Mike had it. We ended up winning that game 15-6. They didn't come close to scoring another run, and we come back and put a shellacking on them. No team of players deserve to be inducted into the Hall of Fame more than you. You guys enjoy this, be proud of it. It's more than well deserved. Appreciate everything you guys have done. Okay, you were great to be around. Okay, I'm glad you've had success, and I hope it continues right here all the time, man. Love you guys. Thanks.
Just a couple of final announcements before we end our program. I would personally like to congratulate all of the inductees, all of the men who were boys in 93 and 94 for their efforts in bringing the state championship back to Catholic Central, and to the coaches for all of their hard work and all of the energy and knowledge that they put into the success that those teams had. Also, is Coach Meek here? I know that. Yeah, Coach Meek, President football coach here at Catholic Central, want to congratulate him on a 6-0 start. Good homecoming game coming up this weekend against Farrar out of Pennsylvania, and we of course wish him the best of luck, not only in the homecoming game, but for the rest of the season as well. Congratulations, Eric. Also, I've been asked to announce, excuse me, I've been asked to announce that all of the inductees and the players that were on the teams that were recognized tonight are invited to participate in the homecoming parade that will be held this Saturday. That parade will begin at 6:15, starting at the former De Gregory's greenhouse, and will march up to Harding Stadium and into the stadium. So Carol Scurdy asked me to invite you to participate in that parade. And as a final note, before I turn it over to Leo, Carol has asked me that those of you who have these name tags, I don't know how much they cost, but she wants you to leave them on the table when you leave. So if you would do that, that would help out for the expenses for next year's Hall of Fame induction. Thank you very much for letting me be the Master of Ceremonies. I always enjoy it, and my best wishes and congratulations to all of the inductees and all of the players.
Several years ago, I had a chance to take over as the equipment manager for one of the best in the world, Ginny, known as Mr. Mac. But about a year ago, I was cleaning out the locker room, and I just happened to see the big box in there. So I opened the box and looked. It was a 1993 white football jerseys. They had to be 50 years old. So what I'm going to do tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I'll be in the locker room. If anybody here wants to get their jersey, come over to Boyd and bring me in the locker room. And if somebody has a relative that couldn't be here tonight, come over and we'll go through them. You can identify a jersey, you can take it home. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are excused. Don't forget the inductees up here with Newgrove's photo, and also any team members and any coaches that were involved with those teams should come up here also.
winners and all the electors.